YouTube, it's your boy Downs Reacts back with another video. Today we're reacting to the worst draft day comparisons from every year. Please show a like, comment, subscribe, share the video. Roll to 300 subscribers. Comment down below some draft day comparisons that come to mind that was bad. I'm going to start off. I'm going to start simple. Some bad draft day comparisons that I think of that come to mind is Adam Morrison being compared to Larry Bird because they're both white. That's the best. It's like every left-handed player is going to get compared to another lefty. Every overseas big is going to get that can shoot is going to get compared to Dirk. Every white player that's good is going to get compared to Larry Bird. If you're a guard over a certain height, you're supposed to be and good at passing. You're supposed to be the next Magic Johnson. And if you really good in high school, Ben Simmons, Zion, you got compared to LeBron. And if you tall and lanky, you don't even got to really play like KD, but you're going to get compared to KD. Shout out Brandon Ingram, though. Brandon Ingram is becoming his own man, though. Fine. But he was the next coming to KD at first. But shout out to Austin Sweat for this video. Let's get right into the video.
In honor of the recent NBA draft, we're going back and looking at the worst draft day comparisons from every single year since 2000. And we're getting all of our comparisons today from NBADraft.net and using
NBADraft.net.
There's some that are bad, some that are terrible, and some that may just leave you flat out speechless. And starting things off extremely hot, leading up to the 2000 NBA draft, NBADraft.net had DeShaun Stevenson's draft day comparison as Michael Jordan.
Oh, I forgot about this. DeShaun Stevenson got compared to Big Jeffrey. Boy, he did not live up to that expectation, didn't he?
The worst comparison of all time. Listen, I think it's no coincidence that DeShaun was also then taken with a 23rd overall pick that year, but that's the only connection
so it wasn't filling the hype.
I get it. He idolized Kobe and modeled his game after him, but he was coming into the league at a high school. Not only did they compare someone to MJ, but they compared a high school kid to him. Then he went and averaged 11, 3, and 1 in his best season, mostly being known as a role player.
If he went to college, y'all think he would have been the next MJ? I doubt it, but
decent defender. Apparently what they saw in him early on was that he was a great dunker and an extremely gifted athlete who was an advanced scorer for his age. But obviously there wasn't that much upside. In
2011 happened. That was the highlight of his career.
And Eddie Curry was another player scouted and drafted out of high school. Well, he went 4th overall.
Don't tell me Eddie Curry got compared. He's a big guy.
Thanks to his comparison being Shaq.
I felt it. I was going to say,
pound high
he's probably going to
kid,
get compared to Shaq or somebody.
Kids. And that was enough for scouts to say that he would be like Shaq and that would carry over to the league. Honestly, he was a solid center for a couple years, but definitely no Shaq. And it was just a cheap comparison to make. Also in 2001, Kwame Brown was coming into the NBA.
Who was Kwame?
Scouts had him as a cross between Karl Malone and Chris Webb. So basically the size of Malone with the versatility of Chris. Which, as we know, didn't happen at all. And that was 2 top 4 picks this year picked based solely off their size. Now 2002 is full of some of the most terrible picks imaginable, so I'll run through these a little quicker. Yao Ming, the 7'6" first overall pick, was compared to Rick Smits.
Shout out to Rick Smits, but I'm not really familiar with his game and how his play style and things of that sort. So somebody in the comments, basketball connoisseurs, somebody let me know, because when it comes to Rick Smits, I'm a casual. So is he saying that Rick Smits was better than Yao Ming, or Yao Ming was better than Rick Smits? I don't know.
It's just based on Rick being the only fitting player based on his size. DeJuan Wagner was decent in high school and college, while his NBA career ended because of injuries after only 100 games. He still should have never been compared to Allen Iverson. Amar'e Stoudemire's comparison doesn't make sense at all looking back, seeing that it was Ben Wallace.
Amar'e Stoudemire compared to... They both were great. They both were great players, but 2 different play styles. Amar'e Stoudemire is an offensive freak. Ben Wallace was a defensive freak. So I don't see it.
Going downhill, we all remember Nene, right? Solid traditional power forward, mainly came off the bench. Well, he was compared to Hakeem Olajuwon, and the only
no way. Nay, getting compared to Keem. Shout out to
that these
Nene,
two have
but
is
he
that
was nowhere
they're
near
international
Hakeem.
players. While Mike Dunleavy Jr., when he was in the NBA, he was like a Gordon Hayward type player. But before the draft, he was compared to be Larry
felt
Bird.
it coming.
In 2003, Darko Milicic was infamously overhyped and thought to be the next Dirk Nowitzki, which is just sad and stupid. In 2004, if it hadn't happened by now, scouts lost all credibility when comparing
Dwight Howard, Shaq, right?
Dwight Howard to Kwame Brown. I don't get it. You
Wait, so I wonder, would an analyst say that now? I think this player got bust material written all over him. Do y'all think a scout would say that nowadays? Dwight was supposed to be bust material according to NBA Draft.net.
overhype Kwame, then he's a bust. Then you use him to compare Dwight Howard to.
But I get it. That was a lot of bust big man.
Just can't get it.
Kwame Brown, Eddie Curry. It was a lot of bust big. So they thought Dwight was straight out of high school as well. So I guess they thought he was going to be another one of them.
There weren't a ton of terrible comparisons, but at first, for the first half of his career, comparing Darren Williams to Andre Miller did look like it. But then the second half of Darren's career, he was looking a lot more like Andre. So, I mean, it only took them 10 years, but I will say they eventually got this one right. One of the most infamous comparisons of all time came in 2006. Now listen, I get it. Adam Morrison seemed like a star in Gonzaga. He had some wild games and led the NCAA in scoring his final year. But it's these dudes' only job to get these right, and they said he was the next Larry Bird. Then he came in and basically only played 2 seasons in the NBA before he was gone. Then he went to play overseas for only 2 more seasons before retiring at 27. Man, what a turn of events. NBA scouts also compared Gerald Green to Tracy McGrady straight out of high school because
it's Gerald Green's athleticism and Gerald Green's frame more than likely is why he got compared to him.
Extreme athleticism and ability to get to the basket with ease. I mean, it makes sense. He was the #1 overall prospect in high school that year. And he was supposed to be a very high lottery pick too, but only gave workouts to certain teams, so he dropped down in the draft. So he had everyone fooled, and it shows why most teams still need to see players go to college first. In 2007, Greg Oden deserved to be at least a top 2 pick in that draft based on how good he was in college. And not even looking at his NBA career, I still feel like comparing him to a cross between David Robinson and Bill Russell was
David Robinson and Bill Russell.
How good did you think this dude was going to be?
So they thought he was going to be one of the greatest centers of all time.
College and the NBA that throws a lot of players off. Like Michael Beasley. He was a dominant superstar in his 1 year at Kansas. It's hard to argue that he didn't deserve to be drafted 2nd overall that year. So NBA scouts were comparing him to Carmelo Anthony.
1v1
at the time.
Pickup game, Michael Beasley on par with Melo, but on the court in the NBA setting,
he was just never that guy in the league. Moving ahead to 2009, Hasheem Thabeet was a 7'3" foreign monster defender who averaged 4 blocks a game in college at UConn. And can the league stop getting fooled by these players? The defense and shot blocking usually doesn't translate to the league. It didn't for Nerlens Noel, Porzingis, and probably won't all the way for Chet Holmgren either.
True, that is a fact. These shot blockers in college, Kansas had one back a couple years ago, number 5 dude, Jeff Whitney. He was a shot blocker. Got him to the league, and I don't think he did a thing in the league. But people get fooled by that shot blocking at a college level.
To Dikembe Mutombo, especially given the fact that he wasn't good on offense at all. Teams should have known better to stay away. In 2010, the worst was scouts and NBA Draft.net comparing Evan Turner to Brandon Roy. They spent his entire draft report talking about how amazing of a scorer he was, similar to Brandon. Then he came in the league and barely ever averaged double digits. Another bad 2010 comparison was comparing Greg Monroe to Lamar Odom. Yes, because the 260-pound center was going to come in the league and play like Lamar Odom. Apparently he could and did do it all in college, with passing, scoring, rebounding, blocking shots, and getting steals, but in the NBA we only saw 2 of those. The 2011 draft day comparison of saying Enes Kanter was going to be like Al Horford is just laughable and makes no sense even for at the time. 2012 must have been a great year for scouts losing their jobs, because here's what we had. Michael Kidd-Gilchrist getting compared to Andre Iguodala, Jeremy Lamb and Reggie Miller, and
I was not Jared Dudley and Luke Herrington into Draymond Green, but Jeremy Lamb, people really thought he was going to be the next Ray Allen, next Reggie Miller, because he was a beast at UConn, but you could kind of tell that it wasn't going to transfer to the league.
Jared Dudley. I mean, come on. The one that obviously
stands out here one, I don't know if that was a year later, was Pierre Jones the third. I think that's his name. Went to Baylor. was this tall type of small forward. He got compared to KD. I remember.
Miller. And
he ended up getting drafted by OKC as well.
Move up to 2013, and here's a couple of the worst ones in the past decade right away. Scouts thought Giannis was going to be a player like Nicholas Batum.
I mean, that's the thing about Giannis. They didn't know enough about Giannis. And he grew. He was only like 6'8" when he got drafted.
I mean, I could see it, but he's only been like 1,000 times better, and it's their job to have seen that coming. While Ben McLemore was highly athletic coming into the league, they thought he was going to be like a Ray Allen, which was never even close to coming true. He's a decent shooter, but he's at the end of most benches in the league. For 2014, apparently Dante Exum was supposed to be the next Penny Hardaway, and
other websites say he was the next Kobe. Even 2K was high on him because he was your rival
after
that year.
He got injured. With 2015, there was just some terrible takes. Sam Decker being the next Gordon Hayward, and Emmanuel Mudiay being the next John Wall, both of which are now under 30 years old and playing overseas. I mean, Emmanuel Mudiay had similar athleticism to John Wall. You'd see him out on the court, and he would move like Wall, but that was about it. Then we get to 2016, and well, old Benjamin Simmons compared to LeBron James and Lamar Odom. Okay, I get it. You can see we're at the beginning of his career, this would have kind of made sense. Well, you can also see right now why it's completely wrong. And in his draft report, they were spot on about some things. Despite being a good scorer, he lacks a reliable jump shot. His form doesn't have any glaring mechanical flaws, but it's apparent that it's the one element of his game that he isn't completely confident in. And all those are right on point. Well, let's look where this draft report turned sour. These were under strengths. He's a hardworking kid, well-spoken, confident kid who apparently has no trouble being a vocal leader and a strong communicator. Level-headed, mature kid who seems to battle through adversity with ease.
Talking about the same Ben Simmons?
Or get down
we talking about the same Ben Simmons here?
All right, I'm done. I get it. It would have been hard to see all those things coming for Simmons, but this one's just too good looking back on. 2017 was a busy year for failed draft reports. We had Josh Jackson getting compared to Kawhi Leonard, Donovan Mitchell thought to be the next Norman Powell, and Markelle Fultz planning on being...
Markelle at the time, nobody predicted him getting injured, but I thought, well, other websites had Donovan Mitchell on par with like Dwayne Wade.
James Harden. If you watch Josh Jackson's game for about a minute and a half, I could see the Kawhi comparison, especially to him early on. But if you keep watching any longer than that, then obviously it's completely off. So they must have come up with this one after watching a Hoop mixtape. Donovan Mitchell surprised a lot of people, and really only the Utah Jazz saw how good Mitchell was going to be ahead of time. I could see some aspects of Norman's game in Mitchell, so I guess I get it. Then of course, no one could have seen Markelle Fultz's self-destruction coming. It's crazy that he was getting these kinds of comparisons too. Was living the dream and got to be picked first overall, and then just never had.
Yeah, he was the obvious first at the time.
And now he could still become a great player one day, but he'll never be first overall pick, college level Markelle Fultz again. 2018 was a little interesting. Mo Bamba was another guy that was thought to be a potential big star and a great defender. So much so that he was compared to Rudy Gobert. And he's starting to go the other route. Listen, this comparison was pretty off, but I do get it. And the fact that Mo shot 40% from 3 this year is something to really keep your eyes on. If he keeps progressing like this, he could start making some noise. Then of course the infamous one in 2018, Luka Doncic was compared to both Hedo Turkoglu and Tony Kukoc. People thought he was going to be a stretch 4 type of guy that just had good handles. Well, a better comparison now would have been a cross between Larry Bird and LeBron James. Of course he's not that good, but he has that type of style, especially since he's a point guard. And him coming into the league was weird. There was a lot of people saying that he'd be pretty...
But that's the thing too, like people thought, you know, he's only, granted, he's not gonna do this at an NBA level. He's a great guy, but he's not gonna do it. That's a lot of what we heard. So hindsight, yeah.
Good, but he's coming from overseas, so they didn't know too much. And there were very few other people saying that he was going to be a real superstar right away. But then finally for 2019, Tyler Hero was thought to be a cross between Nick Stauskas and Joe Harris. So basically a guy that could dribble some and maneuver around the court, but also shoot really well. And he destroyed those comparisons in his rookie season. I would do 2020 and 21 comparisons, but I still think it's just a little too early to overreact to a couple of these. I think it takes at least 3 good years to get an idea of who.
Dang, can we at least get an idea of people you think about?
I'll catch you next time.
I guess not. But W video by Austin Sweat. Some of the ones towards the end, I felt like I could see why people thought that was their draft day comparison. But hindsight is always 2020 though. Anyway, please show like, comment, subscribe, share the video. Roll 300 subscribers. I'm out. Peace.